Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, My Social Thread. My name's Crystal and today we are joined by Ruan, who is the Yorkshire Sew Girl. Hello Ruan.
Hi Crystal.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you for having me. I know it's taken me a while to get here, but when we first started chatting, I think it was in the middle of So Frugal, so it was all a little bit crazy. So yeah, perfect opportunity. I've got a week off, so I thought I'm going to make a commitment and get and be able to speak to you. So I was really looking forward to it.
Oh, and for those of you that don't know, I'm sure everybody knows Ruan, the Yorkshire Sew Girl on Instagram. I think you have about 6,000 followers on Instagram. Likewise on YouTube, massive following on YouTube, almost 7,000. And she's funny, she's talented. And I guess my first question to you is, how and when did you start sewing?
Oh, thank you very much for that little introduction. That was lovely. How did I start sewing? Well, I started sewing 8 years ago now, actually. It came up on my time hop on my Facebook the other day. I just had my eldest son. So, well, he was about a year or so old. And I'd kind of got to the point where I was like, you know, I really want a hobby. I want to do something. And I thought about loads of different things, and I'd made jewelry and I'd made cards and done that kind of crafting thing. And then I watched, I'm one of them, I watched the Sewing Bee, and that was it. I was hooked. And I remember thinking, I'm not bothered about doing garments as such, but I'll do crafty things, you know, bunting and making bags and stuff. So I started looking into classes. And I managed to find one not too far from me, about a half-hour drive, and I went to a beginner's class, and I remember being so excited because I made a drawstring bag. I was very happy with myself. But the first time I went, they kind of said, you know, bring your own sewing machine and all this lot, and if you need to borrow one. I was like, no, I'm fine. My friend at work said, I've got a sewing machine, you can take that. And I was like, that is absolutely brilliant. So she turned up this sewing machine. I didn't even look inside the box. I took it to this class. I pulled it out, and it was actually a kid's sewing machine. It's a kid's sewing machine. So the sewing teacher was like, okay,
about this on a vlog.
Yeah. The sewing teacher was like, okay, we'll try and work that. And so I've got everything ready, and then I'm just sat waiting. And she's like, right, you need to switch it on. So I'm switching it on, and no power, because I didn't have a cord to plug it in. I thought it was battery powered. I don't know what I thought, and now I'm embarrassed. I'm blushing even thinking about it. But that was the start of my journey. And then after I did my first beginner's course, I then joined to do another course, which was making a top. And I was a bit like, oh, I'm not really that bothered. But then when I made it, I remember it literally blew my mind. And that was it from then on. So I did classes for quite some time. There was a group of us that used to go every Wednesday. It was lovely. But then my lovely sewing teacher, Jess, got pregnant, and she's had 3 children since then. So I've never ended up going back to the classes, which is a shame. My cat's trying to get in. I'm really sorry, Krista. You know what he's like. Come on in then. So yeah, so that's kind of how I started. So it feels weird that it was 8 years ago, because I suppose it's only probably the last couple of years that I've really got into it, since lockdown really. And yeah, I kind of
do you remember what that pattern was for that first top that you made, or was it like I
can't remember, a button up back stretch top, and I made it in like a black and grey animal print, obviously, with red buttons down the back. And I remember just thinking, this is just the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And now I'd probably look at it and be like, oh wow, okay. But at the time I thought it was really clever, and I loved it.
Right, and I'm assuming now you still don't have that kid machine anymore, do you? You have a proper sew?
No. What happened was my sewing teacher very kindly went and got one of hers and let me borrow it. And I remember it because it was one of the cheaper models by John Lewis, but it was beautiful, and they had it in all different colours. And after my beginner course, I knew straight away I would never stop sewing again. So I went straight online and I remember the mint coloured edition of this sewing machine, and it was amazing. And it was a really basic, it wasn't electronic or anything, it's just a manual, but I loved that machine so much. So that was my first one.
And what have you moved on to from that?
So then I moved on to a brother quite quickly, actually. And the reason I went on to a brother was because the pedal on my one that I got from John Lewis wasn't working properly, and they didn't have another one. So they said, well, you can either replace it with a different one, or we'll give you the money towards a bigger one if you want. Well, obviously, if someone says give me the money towards a better one, I'm like, well, it'd be rude not to. So I got a brother, and then only this year I have then upgraded, and I've now got a Juki. I'm touching it here, I'm patting her here, a Juki DX7, which is just out of this world compared to what I had. So yeah, it's a beautiful machine.
And is that the Juki where the Juki man got you at that sewing?
Yeah, he got me. It's all his fault. And funnily enough, since I put that out on the vlog, there was loads of people that commented on my video to say, yeah, he got me too. As soon as he showed me doing a buttonhole on silk fabric, I was there, I was sold. I was like, yep, that'll do.
So really, in terms of garment making for yourself, it's only been since lockdown, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I did other garments, but only in my sewing class. And I went 2 hours a week, every week. But he's got to make an appearance. You know what he's like. I did 2 hours every week, but we were doing like the same garment together. So it would take between 6 and 10 weeks before I would have a garment finished. And I was a very slow sewer. And because I was in like a classroom environment where other people were a lot faster than me, I was always in a panic. So I never felt like I did my best work because I was always trying to keep up. It wasn't really until lockdown where I kind of did my own thing that I felt like I took some time, and I probably learned a bit more because I had to do it myself. I couldn't rely on anybody. I couldn't ask a question, and I could do it at my own pace. Yeah. And that's when it changed for me, really. It was in lockdown when I was just on my own and getting on with it rather than doing the social sewing side of it, which is kind of what I was doing before.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have started in the lockdown or have become more serious with sewing during the lockdown. So lockdown, despite all the bad things it brought a lot of good things as well for a lot of people.
Totally agree with you, Crystal. I think it saved quite a lot of people. It certainly opened my eyes to the community, the sewing community, and I'm just so grateful for it because now I feel like I'm really included in that community, and I love it, and I've made really good friends from it. And yeah, I can't thank lockdown enough for that. Really, that was a real positive that came.
Oh, definitely. And I'm just saying, obviously with this whole sewing, you're loving all this sewing. When did you start vlogging? Because that's a totally different thing to sewing, isn't it? Vlogging is. So when did that come about, and how did that come about?
That came about in lockdown. I'm a very social person. I'm a bit of a social butterfly. I like to be around other people. I probably got a bit more comfy with my own company in lockdown because we were kind of forced to do that, and I realized that I really did kind of enjoy the sewing side of it as well, but I didn't have anybody to share it with. And I've been very used to sharing on a Wednesday night in my class with my other friends, and then suddenly I was on my own. And I used to watch, I started watching quite a few YouTubers, Tamlin from Sewn on the Time, Michelle from Sewing Bunny, Karen from Sew Little Time, just so many different people. And I used to love watching it, and I completely consumed myself in it to start off with because I was learning so much from it. Before I'd just done my own research on the internet, but these were people that were telling me about things, showing me fabrics, giving me expert advice on things. And I was like, this is amazing. I can do this. I'm going to do this. I thought about it for quite a while. And then one day I just sat there and thought, you know what? Just go do one. And I've dread to think, I think I deleted it. I can't even remember if I did or I didn't now because it seems quite some time ago. But I think it was about nearly 2 years ago now. I think it was in the October I started. So not long after lockdown kind of kicked off. But and that's been it ever since. Love it. Absolutely love it.
So for my viewers that don't know, I contacted Ruan. Well, actually, I only found you, Ruan, December of last year. And I think you only had about maybe 20 videos up or so. And I watched all of them. I binge watched it. And then I contacted you via Instagram. And I was like, I love your channel, blah, blah, blah. Could you give me advice on how to start? Like, what equipment do you use? And Ruan was so, so friendly. She gave me all the information that I could want for. And she basically said to me, just do it, Crystal. Just go ahead, just do one and just go for it. And I did. And then as soon as I put my vlog up, I messaged Ruan on Instagram and said, Ruan, I've done it. And then she said to me, oh, I'll definitely watch your first one. And I was just so super, super excited. So all of my vlogging is basically down to Ruan because she started it off and she had the confidence to do it.
Oh, that's lovely. It's really nice actually, because obviously I had other people that inspired me to do it. So then to know that I've done that for other people is just lovely. And I remember watching your first video, and I think I messaged you saying you're totally, no, it wasn't at all. It was like, you're so natural. I think, you know, it's a bit of a skill, isn't it? I think people can come onto YouTube sometimes and be a different person to what they really are. And I think it's very hard. You know, it's so nice to watch people when they're natural, they're just themselves and they can talk easily, you know, rather than it being very stilted and, you know, quite formal. I like that kind of relaxed approach. So, you know, when I see you with the kids and everything, and you're having a bit of a laugh and, no, what's this one? And show me which one's your favourite. You know, I like all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you were a natural.
Yeah, and with Ruan as well, when I first started watching, so I watched sort of the latest one, then obviously I went back to watch your other ones. And in your earlier videos, I mean, you were still nice and bubbly, but you're a bit more reserved, I thought. And then slowly but surely you became more funny. I mean, I'm sure you're funny anyway, but you showed that more in your videos. And just like your little personal comments that you made, it's just really, really funny. And so Ruan, you're just hilarious. I just love watching you.
Oh, thanks. I like making people, you know, smile and have a laugh. And, you know, sewing, it's quite, you know, we've said before, it's solitary thing. So if you can have a bit of a laugh while you're doing it, then why not? That's what I say.
And also I find your honesty is quite nice. Like you do comment about yourself, you know, being quite fixed in the middle and, you know, all this kind of, and I think, you know what? You're beautiful. You've got a lovely figure and you're embracing it, and you're not one of, you know, and I just think that's really, really nice for people that have body confidence issues to say, you know, I'm thicker in the center, but I can still look beautiful. I can still make clothes for myself to appreciate my own figure. I think that's great.
And I think you're right there, Crystal. I mean, you know, we all have body confidence issues, probably. I mean, I can't imagine there's one of us out there that doesn't. And I've had, you know, I was a lot thinner a couple of years ago. You know, I lost a lot of weight, and I was very happy with how I looked. And then I've put a bit of weight back on. And I spent, you know, the last 6 months maybe worrying about that and kind of hating on myself a little bit. And recently I've had a chat with myself and thought, I feel like I'm constantly waiting to lose weight before I can do what I want to do. And that is ridiculous. I'm not doing it anymore. I am what I am. Actually, when I look in the mirror and I've made garments, I'm really happy with it. So I don't have to be thinner to be okay. You know, I am who I am. And if I can make my own garments to fit me and make me look good and feel good, then that's all that matters. You know, I'm a big believer in body confidence, and it's easy for someone to sit here and say, I'm body confident. I wouldn't say that I am. I'm certainly working on that, but I don't want to wait about anymore. I'm not waiting about anymore. I am who I am. And if I lose a bit of weight as I go along, then that's great, you know, from a health perspective. But other than that, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm going to make clothes for my size, and I'm going to crack on and enjoy doing what I do.
Definitely. I think there's also a label that says size me. I think it's Kylie in the Machine. She's got a label. And I just think that's amazing. Size me. I mean, why not?
I think people that are body confident are so inspiring. You know, I follow a lot of people on Instagram and on YouTube that are plus size and just absolutely killing it. And I'm kind of like, why am I sat here waiting to kill it when I can kill it now? So I find people like that really inspiring as well. And I think being in the sewing community has opened my eyes a lot to that, a lot.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I've spoken to, I'm kind of friends with Sarah Bales, who's the Tilly and the Buttons model for the extended size. And she's so beautiful, and the clothes she makes just fits her perfectly. Like the bust is like, it just fits her figure so perfectly. And I think, and she's an opera singer as well, so she's got that confidence. And I just think, you know what, you're fabulous. You're all, you know, you're famous, you're fabulous, you know, you're great. So she's doing a good service for the rest of us, I think.
Absolutely.
So going back to your vlogging, is there any special equipment you do use, or any editing software that you use that you can recommend to others?
I'm absolutely ridiculous, Crystal. You know what I'm like.
I know the answer to this. I'm just saying it for the other people.
I'm like, I keep thinking, should I get a vlogging camera? Am I supposed to get one of those? Am I supposed to get a Mac and have proper equipment? I don't understand. What am I supposed to do? And I'm a couple of years into it now, but you know, you'll know, Crystal, it's hard. You know, you've got 8 kids to try and juggle as well. And I work full time, and I've got 2 kids, and I've got a family, and I want to spend time with my family as well. And it sounds daft, but I don't want to spend 2 hours after recording a vlog editing it all. And it's part laziness, but it's also part trying to juggle my time. When I first started the channel, I was kind of thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? Because everybody else is so polished and beautiful and have gorgeous thumbnails. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to have to not be like them. I'm going to have to just be a bit off the cuff. And if people want to watch, they want to watch. And if they don't, they won't. You know, it's as simple as that. But for me, I literally record on my phone. I upload it onto an iMovie app. I stick the odd photo in or not when I forget. And put information in the description or forget, and I upload it, and it's as simple as that. And I get lots of people messaging me from marketing companies, we can do the thumbnails for you and we'll increase your subscribers, and I'm like, no, I'm not bothered, because I like, when I've filmed a vlog, I like to get it up straight away as well. I don't want it to kind of be sat there for a while, although I totally admire when people do it and it looks beautiful, and I love watching those, to be honest, when they're all polished and stunning. But it's just not my style. And I kind of, that's the sacrifice I had to make when I decided to do what I was doing. Is, you know, I'm not saying I won't in the future, but for now it's a kind of hit the record button and upload it, and off you go, you know.
You get more of your personality and your quirks in there as well, where there's less editing. Especially with your vlogmas, with doing a vlog every single day, you don't have time to spend hours putting up. You just want it out there, because that's the beauty of the daily vlogs for vlogging.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm kind of doing that at the moment because I've got a week off, so I'm doing a bit of a vlog every day at the moment, and I'd forgotten what it was like. Actually, I was like, I forgot what vlogmas was like, but it's putting me in good training, ready for December anyway. So.
And you just mentioned you have, how many boys? You've got 2 boys, don't you? How many boys? And how old are they?
So Jack's 9, he's 10 in December, and Oliver is 6. He was 6 in May. So yeah, about 3.5 years in between them, but they're literally the light of my life. They're amazing.
I can imagine. And I love all the photos that you post on Instagram about them, all the makes. You haven't made anything for them quite recently though, have you? It's not a job.
No, it's true. I'm dreadful. I know people don't like the term selfless sewing because it's your hobby, isn't it? You should go to do what you want. But I am very selfish with my sewing because, you know, I love making things for other people. I do. And I've made pajamas for the boys. I've made hoodies for the boys, but they grow out of them so quickly. I'm kind of like, you know what? I'd rather make something that's going to stick around for quite a while. So I've made my mum quite a few pieces as well. And I really enjoy doing that because my mum does a lot for me. So it's kind of my way of giving back. But I keep saying I'm going to make something for my husband. And it's not happened yet. I think I've made him some joggers. I made him some joggers. Oh. That's all he's getting.
And also, Ruan, just quickly, you did mention that you work full time. Do you mind sharing with us what you do for a living?
No, not at all. I work for a food export business, so I help run. Yeah, so we basically sell food products across the globe, mostly biscuits, Fox's Biscuits, because Fox's Biscuits is from our local area, and I used to work for them years ago. So I've worked in the same job for about 14 years now, and I love every minute of it. So I get to travel, I get to speak to loads of people from different countries. I work with a very small family-run knit team, and they're just my best friends as well. So yeah, I'm a very lucky person who's very privileged. I get to work from home one day. I have half a day off on a Friday, and I love the people I work with. So going to work is not a chore for me. It's fantastic. So I'm a very lucky, privileged person, and I don't want to go into the real world. If anything happened with that business, please don't send me into the real world because I don't want it.
And do you get any free biscuits as well along the way?
Too many, Crystal. That is the main reason I'm saying to you, I need to get body positive with my new sites, because we have to sample a lot of the goods as well, obviously, because if we're going to sell them, have to. And what we kind of say at work is, if we're sampling product, then it's calorie free. It's not our fault. It's part of the job.
Indeed. Okay, let's take it back. Let's take it back to sewing. Where do you? Where's the last place you bought fabric from? And what?
Well, the last place I bought fabric from will be Fabworks, which is local to me. So that's in Jews.
Yep.
I dug it out actually. I bought the velvet for my cushions for my living room, which I haven't made yet. So that was the latest fabric I bought. And then before that was probably when myself, Tamlin and Rachel went to B&M Fabrics in Leeds, and I bought some very plain and boring fabric. If you remember.
Yeah.
So bought 3. I can't remember what the third fabric was. I was having a look earlier and I couldn't remember, but yeah, they were the last things. But well, I'm probably lying a little bit because I actually did order some yesterday. I can't show you it because it's not here yet. But Andrew from Beyond the Pink Door dropped a load of new viscose fabrics and they were just incredible. So I limited myself to 2. I bought one which was for making something for my mum, and then I treated myself to a little something. But I could have chosen about 10 or 12 different products. They were all stunning. So I wasn't supposed to be buying anything unless I was in person in a shop. But blame Andrea. That's all I'm going to say. It's not my fault.
Indeed. So you mentioned Andrea from Beyond the Pink Door. Can I ask what sort of subscriptions you subscribe to on a monthly basis?
Yeah, of course. So I subscribe to 2 boxes. So one of them is the Think Pink subscription box, which is done by Andrea at Beyond the Pink Door. And I also subscribe to the So Hayley Jane box. So I do the classic one. Mm-hmm. I think you've done the luxury one in the past and things like that, haven't you? So yeah, I've been subscribed to Hayley's for, I don't actually know how long, maybe coming up to 2 years. I'm not actually sure, 1.5 years maybe. That kind of started in lockdown when nobody was spending any money and we were all a little bored and needed a little treat. So that's kind of how that came about. And then obviously I've followed Andrea for ages and always used to watch her lives and went on her Zoom socials and stuff. And then when she talked about bringing out a subscription box, yeah, the thing with Andrea is I know whatever she picks I'm going to like. I just know it. And if at first I open it and think, oh, I wouldn't have picked that, then I end up becoming obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I've got to make something with that.
Well, that's
which is crazy. So like she do better than myself.
Yeah. Well, I obviously watch all of your unboxings and I watch Adele, Sofa Serenity's unboxings.
Yeah.
And I've liked everything from Andrea's box, apart from the paisley, because Paisley is my thing that I don't like. And I just thought I'm going to give it a go. So I've subscribed this month. So it comes at the end of the month.
Yay.
Yeah. No,
it's weird to say that actually, because I'm not a massive paisley fan at all.
Yeah.
I don't like particularly, but when I first saw that first box with that paisley in it, I don't know if it's the color combination or, in fact, I've got it on the back of my chair actually because it needs a repair. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite fabrics I've ever had. Really? And I'm not a paisley person. See, she's here. Look at her.
And that's water, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my salt water, but I've got a little bit of binding under the arm that's just come out. So I've just slung it over the back of my chair to repair that hopefully today. But that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't normally like paisley, but I literally fell in love with that fabric, and I nearly went and bought some more when she put some on her website. I was like, no, we're not allowed.
And going on a bit of a tangent, Andrea's done really well because I didn't realize she's only been open for a year. I think she was saying, or a little over a year, and that's amazing. Like, I thought she'd been, selling fabric for 5 years or so. So that's really amazing.
Yeah. And Andrea's very natural, she's a lovely person inside and out. I was very lucky to meet her when I went on my holiday as well to Lanzarote. So that was really lovely. But I think that Andrea's got a special touch because she's built a community as well around Beyond the Pink Door, which is really nice. So, she's connected a lot of people together that have become friends. And, it's a bit similar with So Tune, with Tamlin's So Tune that she does. You can see friendship connections coming out of that. And I just think, Andrea will always have a very loyal following because you can trust her. She won't try and sell you something. She'll just pick fabrics that you can't resist. She's not daft. She's a very good businesswoman. That's what I always say to her.
No, and I think her Sunday lives are really good because Adele was saying as well, like, if she was to have seen that fabric just by photograph alone, she probably wouldn't have bought it. But with Andrea showing it off and giving examples of what to make with it, that just gives you a whole new light of this fabric, isn't it? Yeah. And when you can't go into shops as easily, that's exactly what we need, isn't it? That's how I get captured all the time. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. Oh, so lovely talking to you. I still can't get over that I'm talking to Ruan, but anyway. It
feels for me like I'm watching one of your YouTube videos. Really weird.
Going back, pattern. What's the last pattern you bought, and what was it? From what company?
The last pattern I bought was maybe the Saguaro set by Friday Pattern Company. So I am hoping to make that up. It's actually been pushed back to next month, to September, with Emma from So Do It Emma. So we're going to hopefully make up the set together in the same fabric. That's the plan anyway.
I forgot what the fabric was. What was it? Have you got it there by any chance? Or
if not, it's downstairs. Yeah, and Well, it's animal print, obviously.
Of course,
It's
yeah.
like, and it's like a cobalt blue on a white background, very small cobalt blue. It's
Was that from
beautiful.
Rainbow Fabrics? No.
No, I got that one from First Fabrics.
Okay.
But it's been around for quite a long time, a good couple of years, that fabric. So you've probably seen it out and about. They do it in a navy as well.
Okay.
So it's been about for quite a long time. And then Emma bought it and sent me a picture of it. And I was like, please stop sending me pictures of beautiful fabric. I'm not getting it. And she was like, well, why don't you get it? And then we'll do a collab. And then we've got an excuse. And I was like, sold. Oh, hey. Seriously. It's not going to give up, is it?
Talking about patterns, have you got a favorite pattern that you keep making and again, or do you kind of make a pattern and move on to the next one?
I've got an obsession with 2 patterns, which most people will probably know. The Lyra for a start off, which is unusual because when I first saw the packet, I was like, that is not for me. But I just made a dress in animal print and did the long version, and I was just completely converted, and I've loved it ever since. So I think I've made 3 versions of that, which is a lot for me, and I've got one planned in for next month. And the other one was the saltwater slip. I just absolutely love it. I was, again, really surprised, didn't think it was for me, made one because everybody else's versions were so incredible, and then I'm hooked on that as well. And every time I get a fabric, I'm like, ooh, that would make a nice Lyra. That would make a nice saltwater slip. I'm boring myself now. So.
Yeah. Have you tried the Sicily slip?
You what, sorry?
Have you tried the Sicily slip dress by Mason?
No, and I know you've made some beautiful versions. I was watching your video the other day. The only thing about the Sicily slip for me is because it's cut on the bias, it can be a bit clingy to parts, can't it?
Okay, yeah.
And I have quite a big mum tum that I'm not that keen on. So if I can choose something that will skim over it, I will do. And obviously the salt water can skim over that because then you can tie it at the back. My only worry with the Sicily slip dress is that it might cling to all the bits that I don't want. And I'm on a roll at the moment. Everything I've made at the minute, I've really, really liked. And I'm like, I don't want to risk having one of those, you know, when you have one of them mates and you're like, I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
But,
So next question, fabric stash. How big is your fabric stash? I know you showed it to us before when you were doing your organizing. Has that doubled or tripled since then?
No, it hasn't doubled, luckily. Although I'm looking down here because I have just dumped a few fabrics on the floor that haven't been washed yet. So I need to spend some time this week actually, because I kind of organized everything because I couldn't see it all. And now I can see it all, but now I've just been chucking fabrics in again. So I want to spend a bit of time organizing that and getting all my new fabrics put away. I do try to make sure that I don't, get too overwhelmed by my stash. But then my problem is when I see something so beautiful that I know I'm gonna regret not buying, that's what captures us, isn't it? So I want to spend a bit of time organizing. I'm gonna try and use the new app that's been done by Yvette from Blossom Sandwich.
I was just mention that actually. Yes, I mean, how's your paper folder going with the recording of your thing?
I did put it up there and I've looked at it about twice. So I'm constantly trying to find the best method for me. I love the way I've stored everything. I'm happy with that. But I think I need something more visual, something. And I like the fact that on the app you can plan your makes as well and what fabrics would go with patterns and things like that. So I want to spend I've been in a bit of a rush recently, but I want to spend some time this week exploring that app because I think that might be quite a good one for me.
I think it's a great app, and the fact that you can just take a photograph rather than cut a piece of fabric and stick it on, I think it just makes it easier.
From a time point of view. So what I'm going to do is any new fabric that I buy now, I'm going to put onto the app, and then every now and again I'm going to go back through my stash and start updating it. But I thought anything from now on, if I start popping it in that app, then I'll have a better idea of it, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea. And I think, again, it's almost just like shopping through your own app because you can scroll through fabric, see what you've got, because sometimes you forget what you've got, right? And then you realize late that you've got something very similar.
You can get really excited about the fabrics you've just bought, and then you forget about the things you were very excited about 6 months ago. So, yeah, I keep saying to myself, I'm trying to have a method where I don't buy more than a certain amount a month, but I feel every time I put a restriction on myself, I kind of go the other way. But when you get, because I'm subscribed to 2 boxes as well, that's 2 lots of fabric every month. Well, I probably only make 3 to 4 items a month. So then if I buy anything extra, I'm already going over what I've made that month. So I do need to really keep an eye on that, because I don't want to be totally overwhelmed by my stash.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, especially now with the cost of living. I know Tamlin did a vlog
Yeah.
talking about the cost of living for everybody is going up, and you know, fabric isn't a necessity. It is just a hobby. I say just a hobby. It's an amazing hobby that's enriched my life, but it is a hobby. Like, obviously we need to pay the bills, food on the table, blah blah blah. But yeah, I get you.
And if we're all honest, if we look at our stash, we could probably sew for a good couple of years without buying.
And Rachel could sew for a couple of decades.
Yeah, bless her. She's doing a lot of destashing at the moment, which is good to see. And every time she puts something up, I'm like, don't look at it. You don't need that. Leave it alone.
Just to quickly say, Ruan, if we cut off, I will send you another link, because I'm only on the 45-minute anyway. Yeah. So what's on your cutting table at the moment? You've got
at the moment. Well, yes, that's hopefully going to be next month now. So at the moment, I'm doing 2 collabs actually. So I'm in the middle of doing one with Michelle Sews again. So she's doing Sew Purple Challenge, which is for Alzheimer's. Yeah. So that's going to happen in the month of September. So I'm just starting on a project with her, which is great. We're doing that together. And the other project I've got cut out ready is a Calvin wrap dress.
True Bias.
Yeah, and I'm doing that with the lovely Renata from Twilight Stitches. So we're both making, that pattern. So they're my next 2 projects. But then I also, by the end of next week, wanted to try and get my Shelby dress made up in my fabric, because Alison from Sew Like Dottie is coming to Sew Tune as well, and she's got that fabric. So we wanted to try and make something similar in the same fabric, and then have photos taken together. So I've got quite a bit of work to do over the next week.
I've got the Shelby pattern as well, but are you going for the dress version or the romper with the short?
I'm going to go for the dress version to start off with, I think, the long version, because I had some beautiful fabric that I was gifted from Rainbow Fabrics, and I thought, you know what, it's a perfect opportunity. So I'm going to go all out, and then if I like it, I'll do different versions maybe.
Indeed. And since you mentioned Sew Tune and Tamlin and Rachel, please tell us about your newfound amazing friendship. You're like the magic trio of sewists.
Oh. Well, obviously I'd watched Tamlin from the very beginning, and then I started watching Rachel halfway through, kind of thing, as I started to discover more and more people. And I remember watching Tamlin on the television one day when I was cutting out a load of fabric downstairs in my dining room, and she was on the television and she said my name, and I remember squealing. And it makes me laugh now, because it was almost like, oh my God, she said my name. Oh my God, I can't believe she's mentioned me in my channel. And I was just so chuffed. And to think now that I'm actually friends with her is really weird, because I had a massive girl crush on her, obviously, to start off with. But yeah, we were supposed to meet up at the Harrogate Knitting and Stitching show last year. She dropped me a DM and said, look, I'm due to go. Do you fancy meeting for a coffee? And I was like, I'd love to. And then she kind of had to drop out at the last minute for whatever reason. So we messaged and said, well, we should try and meet up anyway. And we've both been chatting to Rachel independently. And I can't remember why, but we were like, shall we see if Rachel wants to come as well? And then we all started chatting then in a group, and then we all went to Leeds, and it was like we'd known each other for years. It's really quite strange when I think about it. But to go and meet 2 people I've never actually met before. But we just had the most wonderful day, and then we've continued that friendship, and we Zoom every now and again, and we message probably daily, if not several times daily, sending each other fabrics that we like and plans that we've got. And yeah, I found fantastic friendship in those ladies. I'm very, very grateful, and they're lovely.
And we really enjoy watching the journey as well, because all 3 of you vlog about the same event, so it's nice to see.
But it's the same well for you, isn't it? Because obviously you found a nice friendship with Adele from Sew for Serenity, and Claire from Sew.
We haven't yet met up, so we're planning to meet up this September for the knitting and stitching show or something or other. So hopefully we'll
yes, I think it's is it the beginning of October?
Yes.
Oh well, Tamlin and Rachel are hoping to go as well, so we're planning that at the moment. So maybe we'll see you, and we'll all get together out there.
Excellent. Oh, that's so nice. Let me ask you, what's your favorite sewing task, Ruan? What do you like? And I mean, I guess that's an open question, isn't it?
No, I think my favorite sewing task is choosing fabric and patterns.
Oh really? Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's not a physical task, but I love, you know, my head's always full of loads of ideas, which can be a negative as well as a positive sometimes. But I think that's probably my favourite thing. And then the very end, when what you've thought in your head could be, and then it's there and you love it. You know, I've recently made a dress for the Rainbow Project, dress project that I've been doing with Tamlin and Rachel, and I was very unsure whether I was going to love it, and then when I made it, I absolutely loved it. And that feeling when you've made something yourself and you're unsure, and then you put it on and you're like, yes, it's just magical, isn't it? Yeah. That's my favorite.
And also, I'm assuming you have all these lovely, beautiful dresses. Do you get to wear them all the time? Because like for me, I make so much, but I don't really have many places to go. And I'm just like, you know, I'm just dressed up all the time, you know.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm a bit like that. I keep thinking you need to stop making going out dresses and maybe make something for work and for daytime. Yeah. But to be honest, since I started sewing, I'd probably dress a bit more fancy now as well. So I will wear a lot of things to the office. I'm quite lucky because we're quite casual, and unless we've got a meeting, we don't really need to be in business dress. So I wear a lot more fancy stuff than I probably would have ever done before. A lot of brighter stuff, more adventurous stuff than I would have done if I was buying ready to wear. So yeah. I do tend to wear a lot of my garments, I must admit, as often as I possibly can, because I don't want them to hide in my wardrobe.
Indeed, definitely. And talking about fabric, what attracts you? What sort of, I know the answer to this, but what do you get attracted to fabric-wise?
I'm just an open book at. My favourite fabric, without a doubt, is viscose. I absolutely love this. I really like viscose linen as well, because I like this kind of structure, but the drape. Anything that's drapey for me. I'm not a massive fan of very stiff fabric, and I think that's because I don't wear a lot of that, even in ready to wear. I like things that skim and that flow and that are just soft to the skin. So whenever I get a fabric, maybe in my subscription box or anything that's a more stable fabric, I always struggle to think, what should I make with that? And I'm trying to work on that now. But yeah, viscose is 100% my favourite, without a doubt.
But in terms of just structured fabrics like poplins and things, the lyra is great for that, because you could do like a structured lyra or a viscose lyra, and it works really, really well, I think.
And I have done that. I've done the short version of the lyra in like a lawn.
Yeah, the Lady McKelvey.
Yeah, and to be fair, it kind of sat in my wardrobe, and I pulled it out the other day because it's been so hot, and I wore it to work and it felt incredible. And I was kind of like, why have I had that sat in my wardrobe for so long? And it's because it's not viscose, so I'm not drawn to it straight away. But I put it on and I was like, I'm going to make another one in lawn, because it was just gorgeous. And I'm like, I need to not be scared of it. And really, viscose is harder to sew with, isn't it? Without a doubt.
It moves a lot. Yeah, I know what you mean. And so, Ruan, what's your favourite print?
I think everybody will know this if they watch my channel. Animal print, without a doubt. I am definitely the Bet Lynch of the sewing community. I absolutely love animal print of any description, but also colour. You know, I think I was mentioning earlier, I kind of kept thinking I need to go for more plains and I need to look like I'm a bit more put together and on trend. And then I thought, no, I don't actually, because it doesn't bring me as much joy. I love wearing animal print. I love wearing colour. Colour makes me happy. So I'm just going to embrace it. And I'm going to stop putting myself into little categories of where I should and shouldn't be. I love colour. I love animal print. I love wearing beautiful clothes like that. And I'm just going to wear them more often. Why not? We only live once.
Yeah, it's definitely you. It's your personality. I think if you wore plains, you'd be not Ruan.
I know. People would be like, who is that?
And also I find with plain coloured clothes, for me personally, I find like plain, you see your lumps and bumps more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if it's, or any, you just see everything. Also, you're sewing, if it's not perfect in a plain fabric, you see it also. I guess the fabric, the print.
I think I will do more, because I would like to do a lot more where things match and will go together. So I will do, and I do like the idea of a plain fabric where there is things to look at on the pattern, like if there's pleats and different things like that. I love a plain fabric because you can really see the details of a pattern. It's kind of like if you're wearing something really busy and then you make a really intricate pattern, sometimes it's kind of like, what's the point? So I will do more of that. I just, maybe in a few years.
Yeah, no, I find as well. I mean, I'm exactly like you with the plains, but I think a polka dot is quite a nice compromise because it's not too busy. you can still see pleats, but then you don't see too many
Yeah.
bumps either. So that's my opinion.
I like your theory. I like your theory.
Can I ask, do you have a favorite make, Ruan, to date, or do you have several?
Yeah, what else? Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? That I have a few favorite makes, really. I suppose one of my favorite makes is my Oslo coat that I made a long time ago. I haven't got that to show you actually because it's packed up somewhere, but that was like the first coat I'd made on my own, and I absolutely loved it. And I made it in a green animal print, obviously. But I think my favorite make is probably my second Lyra. I think I've got it here. My cat sat on it.
It's okay.
Sat on it. Come on. Is my animal print Lyra.
Lovely.
I think this was one where I saw the pattern. I wasn't sure about it from the cover. I made the short version. I was like, oh, I really enjoyed constructing that. And then one day I just thought, oh, I'd love an animal print long version. And I made it, and it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. So I think that's what kind of, yeah, that suckered me in. I think that's probably my favourite make out of all, because it kind of changed my attitude towards sewing a bit as well.
And your other Lyra, is it the black with the poppies? Is your other Lyra?
Yes.
That was
yes. Got the black one with the poppies as well, which is, you know, it's one of those outfits that you kind of have to be doing something special to wear. But I've worn it a few times now, and I always get comments when I wear that dress.
Aww.
Every time. Yeah, that's probably the most comments I get is when I wear that dress, probably because it's so bright and in your face.
So on the other hand, sewing fails. Do you have a few sewing fails that you just think that doesn't suit me, or that was rubbish, or terrible pattern?
I think we all have that. Yeah, I think we have that every now and again, don't we? But I think as you get more experienced, you start to understand your body. You start to understand pattern companies that you like. You understand the measurements a bit better and how much ease you want around. So, like I said earlier, most of the things I've made recently I've really loved, which is nice. But I have made the odd thing and thought, I don't even understand what I've done with that. I remember making a halter neck top once from one of the Sewing Bee books. I couldn't even get it over my head when I'd finished it. And I'm like, what measurements was I looking at? I don't understand.
It's so disheartening, isn't it? The way you spend time and the money doesn't fit. And then it makes it rubbish as well. You think, am I like that overweight, or am I, you know, but you probably just made a mistake reading the instructions.
Yeah, and we all have that, and we have to learn from it. And sometimes it's better to make some mistakes because then you are progressing. But the other thing I did once is I was that busy chatting in one of my sewing classes, I actually sewed the top of a pair of Huntsman pants together instead of the side seams. So when we came to the put the waistband in, my sewing teacher was like, I'm not quite sure how you've managed this.
Oh, there you go.
Just busy chatting.
And your worst sewing task?
God, I absolutely hate hemming.
Oh, do you?
I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I annoy myself because it's the last hurdle. But I will do anything I can not to hem. But I have to force myself to finish a garment before I'm allowed to make the next garment, because otherwise I will let them all sit there and never hem them. So I have to do that. So if I have something half made and I'm in the process of it, I have to finish it before I allow myself to make the next make, because otherwise I would just sit with UFOs. Yeah, and I don't like having UFOs. So I make the item.
What part of hemming do you not like? Sort of the folding up of the hem, measuring it? You like, yeah.
The whole thing. I think to fold it all up, particularly if you're on the bottom of a dress like the Lyra and there's loads of fabric. It's just boring, isn't it? I prefer the construction of a pattern.
I was just going to say, have you tried the 3-thread overlock thing on your overlocker?
This cat is driving me insane, Crystal. Like insane. No, do you know what? I know there's loads of different ways to do hemming, and I'm just really lazy. It's the same with gathering. You know, people are like, oh, use elastic, and there's loads of methods I've seen, and I just need to sometimes spend some time. But I'm always eager to get to the end of a project, and sometimes I wish I would slow down and try to improve my technique. It's a bit like I've had a lot of people recently asking me to talk about my sewing machine and do because I unboxed it and then said I'll do a review on it. I don't feel I've got the best out of it yet to be able to do a review, because I'm just eager to crack on. I could do with just slowing down a little bit and spending some time getting to know everything a bit more and trying different techniques. So that is definitely a point for me to work on.
Yeah. And I don't think I know the answer to my next question, but do you blog or do everybody. Blog or vlog, like, you know, like a brand ambassador. I don't think, but you have these
No.
you're kind of like a guest brand ambassador to several kind of
Yeah.
things, aren't you?
Yeah, I haven't kind of committed to anybody, if I'm honest. And I have a big fear of letting people down. I very rarely will miss a deadline, and I'll put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that I hit deadlines. So sometimes I have been approached by a few people in the past, and I've kind of said, well, what would it entail? And it was very intense. And I've just said, look, I just don't think I want to commit to that, because obviously I have other priorities in my life as well. But I'm just doing a guest blog for the Fabric Revival at the moment. So I'm just in the middle of doing that. But that was just, you know, a guest blog. And I would be happy to do that for more companies as well. But, you know, there's probably the odd one or two. If they approach me and said, would you do something on a regular basis, I'd probably go, yeah, I would actually. But there's a fine line between doing that, I think, and having the creative flow of doing your own thing, isn't there? It's like at the minute I've committed to loads of collabs and I'm like, oh, why have I done this? But I don't want to let anybody down. But then I might have a little bit of time off, just like I did after So Frugal. I was like, whoa, I need some time off to just do my own thing. So yeah, I do like working with small independent companies as well, because I like to try and plug them and give them a bit of publicity as well if I can.
And I guess you're hot property, as in like everybody would want you. So
I'm loving this chat, Crystal. I'm not gonna be out that door in a minute. My head's gonna be that big.
Talking about So Frugal, Ruan, how did that come about? How long have you're doing it? 2 years now, right? It'll be third year.
Yeah. So this will be the third year next year if we decide to do it. I'm sure we will. I think people are
it's fab.
Yeah. That just came about by my friend, obviously Sam from Frugalism. I used to watch her a lot. She's another one of the people that I watched before I started my channel up, and we used to chat a little bit on Instagram. And we decided one day that we were going to do a collab. That's kind of how it came about. And we started chatting and ideas grew. And I said, well, why don't we, because her channel is obviously about frugal sewing, why don't we do something frugal and we'll look at free patterns and blah, 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 blah. And we'll do something from our stash and something that's, you know, a free pattern. And we kind of said, well, should we invite other people in to join us then? Should we see if any other vloggers would like to do it with us? So then we put a call out to vloggers, and then it was like, oh, wow, okay, everybody wants to. I think we were all in lockdown, so we were all bored, weren't we? We were like, yes, I'll join in anything. So I think it was timing as well with us. So obviously then we did the vlog tour, and then we just had the most incredible response from the public, because everybody loved being involved in something, because we weren't out and about chatting to people and having that in our environment. So I think it kind of took place of a lot of stuff for people in lockdown. Yeah,
definitely. And I think Instagram obviously played a big part in So Frugal. When did you start your Instagram account? Do you remember?
Actually, I had to have a look when I'd started it, and it's actually March 2018, which is bizarre, so over 4 years ago. But if you look back on my Instagram channel, it wasn't anything serious. It was just kind of me playing about a bit really, and showing my makes a little bit, because I'd only just started using Instagram in that way, and I didn't kind of put any regular content out or anything like that. Again, because I didn't sew at home. I only sewed in my sewing class once a week, so by the time I'd finished the garment, it'd be 6 or 10 weeks down the line. So there wasn't much to show, whereas I've got more and more confident, and then, you know, seen other people on Instagram, and it spurred me on. So that's how I've ended up then being a bit more serious with it, really.
And I think also with myself personally, Instagram, I think is a great place for inspiration, isn't it? Like, for example, Tilly and the Buttons Indigo. I love all of Tilly's buttons apart from that pattern. And I just thought that looks shapeless. It looks awful, blah, blah, blah. I look on Instagram and people have made some beautiful versions where they've added waist ties, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try that pattern. And I'm on my second one now, but you know, things like that we would not normally have our eyes open. Yeah. Instagram has shown us different things, and
Instagram's everything for me, if I'm honest, Crystal, and I mean that, I really do, because, you know, that's how I've connected with people. That's how I've connected with all my sewing friends, and with you know, and other people in the sewing community, and, you know, people that maybe don't have YouTube channels but have followed me for a long time, and we chat all the time on Instagram. And it's how I've connected with so many people. And I think Instagram's really the biggest inspiration for me. Like you've just said, I see so many incredible makes. It's just so inspiring. They're just messing about with it a bit too much for my liking at the minute. So I'm hoping they will get back to photography, because that is what Instagram was set up for, and I love it.
I was just going to say, if you don't already, I like, because you're quite a big Instagram personality, as it were, like the hacking issue that sometimes people get hacked and you can't ever get your Instagram account back. And I've recently just taken, I think So Over 50 we're doing a podcast on how to secure your account and to the secondary security via your phone or via some codes or something. So I've done that because it's a funny story, actually. I did that, but then I locked myself out. I wasn't hacked, I locked myself out. And it was a pain to get it back. Like, I literally was on Instagram. I actually cried because I said to my husband, you know, I've got 2 brand ambassadorships. Without Instagram, that means nothing. And, you know, and I spent a day trying to get that Instagram account back, and I finally got it back. But that's how secure it is if you ever get locked out yourself.
Good away. Yeah, when I saw all the hacking stuff happen, actually, I went in and set all my 2-factor authentication and everything up, because I was like, if that happens, I don't have anything backed up either, because I don't have a hard drive and I don't edit anything. It's literally there. So if it happens to me, I'd be having to start from scratch. But then I think, you know, if I do, I do. It's just what it is. So yeah, I have got a lot of my security tightened up on there just in case.
That's good. Well, thank you very much, Ruan. My last and final question, which you can expand as much as you wanted. What does sewing mean to you? What is this hobby of ours that we all seem to share and love?
Oh, it's funny, isn't it? I think how we're drawn to each other through a hobby. I've never really experienced it before, but it means so much to me. You know, my friends at work and my other friends and that will know, you know, I in lockdown, it was hard. I was very used to being social and seeing a lot of people, and then suddenly wasn't. And it kind of, I threw myself into sewing. And through doing that, I've made so many new friendships, and I feel really part of a community. And, you know, I have lovely people who send me gifts and message me just to see if I'm okay. And, you know, I have a lot of online friends as well, and I would call them true friends, you know, and which amazes me. You know, I do have a lot of friends in real life as well, and they'll all laugh and say, you don't need any more friends. But I just love connecting with people who love the same thing as I do. And I just think it's magical, and I hope it never goes away.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Ruan. I know I've gone over. I think we've been on it for about an hour, but thank you so much, everybody.
Well, there's a surprise. There's a surprise with me on. You should have known that was going to happen, Crystal.
Thank you, Ruan, for coming on my channel. Thank you to everyone for watching. If you don't already follow Ruan, she is the Yorkshire Sew Girl, right? On Instagram and on YouTube. I will post all the details down below. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Ruan. That's lovely. I had a really lovely chat.
Really enjoyed it. It was lovely to speak to you properly as well.
Well, hopefully you have the rest of the week off and you'll have a great time with your boys. And I will let you know, this will be coming out in September at some point, and I will let you know. I'll send you all the links and everything as well. And just to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know I'm a nobody, you're the somebody, and you're giving me this big opportunity.
Stop talking yourself down, Crystal. You're doing a fab job. I mean, look at where you are now from only starting this year. It's unbelievable. So
thank you. But
don't talk yourself down.
I look forward to your vlogs. I haven't seen that one about the rainbow dress yet, so that's, I think, I have to catch up on.
I'm going to be doing everybody's wedding because there's so many coming out in the minute, so no pressure to watch them.
Thank you so much. You have a good day. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye.